Good morning, friends. This is Colonel Ravi Nair here from Crack SSB Masterclass. Today, we shall be tackling the question, why is infantry the predominant arm in the Indian Army? Now, to understand this question, let us look at India from the terrain perspective. India is possibly one of the only country in the world with every conceivable type of terrain that is existing on this planet. Let's take an example and see. From the north, you have the high altitude from 9,000 to battlefields as high as 18,000 feet. This is well above the tree line. Then when you come further down on the western front, you have the mountainous terrain, where the mountains have dense undergrowth and very steep climbs and very steep valleys. Then you come down to the developed terrain, where the built-up areas are large and you have a network of irrigation canals, making operations difficult and different. Then you have the semi-desert terrain and the desert terrain. And lastly, the Run of Kutch, which has a totally different type of terrain due to its vast salt wastes. Besides, in the northeast, you have dense mountains with heavy undergrowth and are prone to landslides. Considering all these types of terrain, we need an arm which can fight in every conceivable type of terrain and can adapt to every situation and every type of mobility apparatus. Infantry, fortunately, known as the queen of the battle, fits all these issues. The infantry's major trait is its adaptability. It is adaptable to every type of terrain. Being the foot soldiers, the infantry can adapt in the high altitude. They can operate and get across obstacles and cannot develop terrains. They can operate in the deserts with suitable mobility. They can operate in the mountains. Keeping this major adaptability point of view, the infantry also can be versatile by giving it suitable mobility apparatus. You can drop it from an aircraft. You have the special forces who parachute down. You can slither them down from helicopters. You can airdrop and airlift them. You can send them on vehicles. They can be lifted by vehicles. They can be lifted and transported by boats. They can be floated across canals. And they can be walking on foot to any nook and corner of the country. It is in this context, keeping our vast frontiers and hostile neighbors, that infantry becomes the predominant arm. And there are various forms of the infantry in terms of the mobility that is given. You have the special forces, which are the paratroopers, who can be paradropped into any terrain and into any location. Then you have the mechanized forces, mechanized infantry. The mechanized infantry, they have been given BMPs. They have been given infantry combat vehicles, in which the infantry is carried in section-wise lots and can accompany the armor in its assault across an objective. So, keeping all this in mind, infantry axiomatically becomes the most predominant arm of the Indian Army, with about 370 odd battalions existing, formed into regiments and battalions. Each infantry regiment has about 20 to 25 battalions, and there are infantry regiments, around 30 infantry regiments. So it is in that perspective, the infantry, the queen of the battle, remains the most predominant arm of the Indian Army. That's all, folks. We meet again with something else more interesting. Have a good day. Stay safe. Jai Hind.